Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of FinanceFeeds Podcasts. My name is Nikolai Isayev. I'm editor-in-chief of FinanceFeeds. Joining me today is Martin Thorvaldsson, who is community director at global brokerage Exness. Martin, thanks for taking the time to speak with me today.
Happy to be here.
I wanted to jump right in because you lead corporate and social responsibility at Exness. And I guess my first question is, how do you describe the firm's overall approach to these matters? Because I think your brokerage globally does a lot of things in this area.
We do a lot, I think. We have a lot in our pipeline, and we're lucky to have the full support of the company. And the founder is deeply involved on the major things we do, and that makes our life much easier, right? And we also feel we have the earned support of the senior management. And I know a lot of other organizations struggle to get their CSR projects through, but we've been very fortunate in that regard that we've had a smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I would say that we try to focus, well, we do focus on effective impact. That's kind of our credo. So we want to get most for our money.
Mm-hmm.
And we try, test, evaluate everything we do, just like running a business. And
Sure.
what works, we keep and scale.
Mm-hmm.
And what doesn't work, we stop and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's inspired by this movement called effective altruism. Maybe you heard of it. It's about spending your money wisely, as possible way. But I like to think we find our own little way. And we do consider secondary purposes, as we call them, the goodwill that comes from CSR. So we do consider, that in relation with general public, with the government, with our traders and partners,
Mm-hmm.
and with our employees. And we try to instill this feeling of there should be culture more than branding. So it should be something you do also when nobody's looking. It should be something, you live and breathe. There should be normality, not something you just say.
Yeah.
And this is something that takes time to change and takes time to put in, but as I think we'll talk about later, we have some good examples of that when I think we succeeded with this ambition.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And finally, I think it's about putting the spotlight not only on us, putting the spotlight not primarily on us, at least on the organization that we help. So recently we did a really good thing. We donated 50 cars to different organizations working with cancer in Cyprus. And when activating this, we really tried to make it about them because
Yeah.
they do amazing work. And I think that went pretty well. And we actually have a video out online that you can all watch if you Google it, that we hope shows that.
Mm-hmm.
But this feeling of, that it's not branding, it's culture. In the recent fires in Cyprus, we had this call for help, obviously. And at one point, we were going to move some stuff to Catapult Media. And we set out the notice internally. And 15 Exness cars showed up within 1 hour. And that's amazing to see, right? Without, any cred or any selfies or anything like that. People just show up and without hesitation, just for maybe the respect of the peers as a benefit.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yes.
You mentioned the wildfires, obviously. So we faced devastating wildfires just outside of Limassol here in July. From what I understand, these were the most destructive wildfires in over, I think, half a century, because they burned over 100 square kilometers of land and destroyed, I would say, many lives besides structures, right, and forest and greenery. I know that Exness previously supported wildfire preparedness, specifically by donating fire trucks and funding terrain-adapted drones, and this was in partnership with the Cyprus Institute and the Department of Forests of, I guess, the Republic of Cyprus.
Yes.
You just briefly mentioned that, when the fires started and it was clear that people need help, you had sent around an internal notice and people responded right away. But I wanted to know, how is Exness responding or has responded to these wildfires on the ground, given your previous efforts? And are those previous initiatives being expanded in any way or adapted to meet the scale of really today's, I would say, disasters? And
Yes.
really saying that because, or asking because it seems to me, I'm not a professional in this, but from what I've read and studied as a layperson, it seems like here, when it comes to fires, it's a lot of work to be done in terms of looking at the future and being prepared. Basically, having things in place that could isolate these types of events, natural events, when they begin, so they don't spread.
Very true, very true. Yeah, it's a real tragedy. I think everybody was very, very affected by these fires, even if one wouldn't live in those areas. Yes, we're still waiting for the statistics of our previous donations. So we donated 3 trucks and 2 drones with pilots, but we don't really know exactly how they were used yet. That will come later. But they are very happy to have this equipment, and I suspect they were used on the northern front where they were protecting the tree line,
I see.
because the fire went through on a little bit lower than that, and it was extremely important to protect that tree line, because if not, it would have been much, much, much worse.
Sure.
And during the start of the event, we couldn't do much. We could just, see what happened and hope that, the investment we made had a difference. And then when the call for help came, we started to contact the different organizations on the ground, and we mobilized our people. And many of them went to the rescue centers and worked, as I said, and maybe were there for days actually working with them.
Mhm.
And we also connected with the Bank of Cyprus, you can say volunteer civil defense team, support CY. And they do a lot of good things. And together with them, we got food and water to evacuated people, and also to firefighters, actually. And now after that, we also managed to release some of our company flats for temporary use. So we had 14 families actually staying there during this emergency phase until they found accommodations elsewhere. We still support some of them financially. So we're still waiting for these reports to see how efficient the previous donations was. But I think it's fair to say that we need to find something more efficient, because this time, obviously, it didn't work that well for some reason, And we were looking into many different things. One of the things we are really hopeful about is a collaboration with Cyprus Institute and Department of Forest to actually sponsor a satellite feed from a geostationary satellite to keep an eye on Cyprus at all times.
I see.
And I think that could be very useful. And there's a current prototype that seems to be working well, but it's a new satellite feed coming this autumn, improved quality that could do well here. And then it's about getting maybe more trucks, maybe more UAVs, and maybe also connecting them directly to the villages instead of only going through the government. I think the villagers here, they suffered, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
We're in contact with 5 of them. I've been up there a couple of times, but I think they could do with their own resources. But it has its own complexities, so it's a bit tricky to do that as well, because many villages don't have firefighters, and many villages don't have young people to man this. So that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
And as I said, we're now working together with Tech Island. Maybe they will form their own organization to tackle these issues moving forward. And with that organization, we'll have even more resources to put into this. Yes, I think that summarizes what we have been up to after the fires, I think, yes.
You mentioned Tech Island. I remember let's say in the aftermath of these devastating events, I saw some messages from Tech Island that were quite specific.
Yeah.
And that talked specifically about, again, sort of preparedness for the future,
Yes.
making sure that these kind of things, that you can mitigate the effects of these natural disasters in the future. And it seems like this organization has been doing quite a lot of things on the island from a CSR perspective as well. And I guess my question is how tightly or closely do you collaborate with them?
In past, not too much on CSR, but this certainly is different. They have shown a great initiative here, and they're really invested in this, and they already raised and got already a lot of money to spend on this. But I think everybody is trying to not fall into the trap of trying to do too much too soon.
Yeah.
We need to research, and we need to understand what happened here, what went wrong. And also, I think the command structure of the fire services and the information structure here, we need to understand how that can be improved before we make any bigger investment. At least we need to know in parallel with our investment that this is being addressed.
Of
Because
course.
it doesn't matter how many trucks you buy unless coordination is good.
It's true. If they're just standing in a parking lot, they don't really do much.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Right.
So I think you'll agree with me that, again, these events are just another confirmation that the climate is changing around the world. If we talk specifically again about Cyprus, it's a combination of extreme heat, drought, strong winds, and probably a variety of other factors that contributed to this. But I think we could all agree that things are changing around the globe. And I wanted to ask, how is your CSR approach at Exness evolving with the evolution of climate change? And perhaps there are some examples that you could speak about in terms of what your team is doing, maybe not necessarily even in Cyprus, but elsewhere around the globe.
For sure, for sure.
Mhm.
I think we can start with the existing project with the fires. I think surely, a hotter world doesn't make it easier for firefighting. And that connected with strong winds, it's not that much you can do sometimes, because that together, if it's 35 or 40 or 30 degrees, it doesn't make that much of a difference in that scenario. So I think here we need to work with this package of surveillance systems and other things, and also start reforest efforts, not only to reforest the burnt areas because make them look nice again for wildlife, etc., but also to spread the fires in the future.
Yeah.
So reforesting, apart from the drones and the UAVs and the satellites, will certainly be a priority, but it's tricky. It's very hard to do this, and it's a long-term plan. We need to think 10 years here, because you need to plant, and you need to plant seasonally. You can only plant basically in winter, or you should start planting in winter, and then you also need to irrigate. And irrigation, depending on which land you have, is a problem. And we tried in the past and we failed a little bit. So those things needs to be solved for us to do something of magnitude here.
Yeah.
I think that we also have a lot of smaller efforts. Usually, as any organization, you need to focus. And our focus will not be, I can say, on big environmental problems. We do a lot of smaller things. We do recycling. We check our energy bills. We try not to travel so much, and we do beach cleanups. We do tree planting, etc. But those are kind of smaller events.
Sure.
Bigger ones requires usually huge budgets, and it's more suited maybe for other companies.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you later, hopefully, a little bit of where we are focusing. And the reason is that we need to be good at what we do if we're going to have the best effect, and to really have this effective altruism, get the most for our money, basically.
Great. Well, I think you made a really great point, because, I mean, if you have something that is a gigantic undertaking that, let's say, will involve large sums of money, it's very easy, like you said in the beginning of our conversation, to get bogged down, and things sort of hit roadblocks, and then, sure, you have a plan and you want to execute it, but things get lost in the wind, so to say.
Yes. It requires a lot of manpower. There are only a few of us, and if you're going to go, for example, to pick up a lot of plastic from the oceans, you can invest in the machines, but you don't really have that much control of exactly what happened with that money.
Yes.
We lack control. We want to buy a fire truck, see the mileage, and then next year evaluate, and then see, should we buy one more, or should we maybe not, With this big investment in environmental things, where we don't have the best competence internally, which we might have more in education, I would say.
Yeah.
It's more risky to make investments, and therefore we focus on other things.
Interesting. You and Exness have worked in a very tight-knit fashion with local NGOs here in recent years. Can you kind of walk us through some of the most notable or meaningful examples of your collaborations here in Cyprus?
Yes. We had a few, and I have to stress also that we started small and tested. So the organizations we work with now is people we kind of learned to work with, tested, and saw that they were the same as us.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. You start small and then it can grow.
Yeah.
And one example is this latest donation of 50 cars to the organizations working with cancer patients. It's Patikaf, Little Heroes, and the Anti-Cancer Society. And we knew them from the past. We had worked with them, and when we looked for a theme or a direction for the donations, we honed in on them, and it was a great thing because we realized when we looked into it how effective these cars could be. Because they're used to go between patients and doctors and medical workers, but also to help families to go to the airport. Many people are treated abroad, to take the kids to school, to see the psychologist, etc. And there was a huge gap there. So we knew the organizations, we saw the gap, and we realized here we can be really effective. And that was really good. I think a good project so far. But we're still going to evaluate it. We're still going to follow up every year and see how many mileage, how many patients, and we have KPIs on everything. We make sure that we get bang for the buck, and also so I can defend when people ask me why did we spend this money.
Of course,
I pull up the file and say, here it is. Sure, and then you earn their trust, and hopefully they let you do your thing.
Absolutely.
Second one is so many of them. Which should we take here? I think maybe the scholarships is a good one. So we have we call them the Exness FinTech scholarships. They are now over 70 recipients total the last 2 years in 6 countries. And we just now released the last batch of Cypriot students. It's going to be 7 of them. They're going to Harvard, Imperial, UCL, Edinburgh, I think, and ETH in Zurich.
Very nice.
They're amazing people, and we hope that one day also they will come back to Cyprus for working with advanced stuff and contribute back to Cyprus. And and actually, now we have one girl, Alisa. She's in Harvard. She's actually doing work for us on AI over the summer. So it's a good project. But not everything needs to be big, I think, in CSR. And I think sometimes we only focus on the big project. I have one more project I want to mention because it's so inspiring. So twice a year we do an event called Rolling Together. We go with the local wheelchair basketball team, Ifestos. And we play wheelchair basketball. Have you ever played this?
I have not played it. I've seen it obviously in the Olympics, and
fantastic. And it's fierce as well. It's really tough.
Yes, I've seen them hit each other. Yes.
And a lot of the disabled also in this playing here, they're former adrenaline junkies. At least I suspect so. So they're strong-minded people.
If we talk a little bit about, part of your role is obviously liaisoning with local governments, I think not just here in Cyprus, but around the world. And I guess my question is, how do you interact with government, and what issues? Maybe you can give us some examples
sure.
of how that works, because let's be honest with each other, that's not always a smooth process, let's say, in different places as well, right?
No, for sure. I think you have the same problems there, that we're all humans at the end of the day, right? And I think usually there's a lot of enthusiasm in the beginning. Everybody likes ideas and to do them, but obviously it has to be executed. Executed is everything. And there we might have some problems sometimes. And also for example, with the drones, we don't really know how effective they have been, but we have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'd look at this as, a 10-year project more than a 2-year project. But we talk to the government, various branches of government here in Cyprus all the time. We have good relations, and it's also important for them to understand us and understand who we are. And you can only do that if you invest in these relations. You show that you're here for the long run. And also for our side, we want to understand how they work. We want to understand what they need, what are their priorities. And it takes time to build that and understand that. So that's going well, and I feel we have the ear of the government and the organizations. Obviously, executing is sometimes a different thing. And now also we reached out, and we did this before as well, actually. We reached out to a few villages, municipalities, to help directly. And that's also a way of understanding better how things work, what can be really effective use of our money.
Yeah.
So for the fires now, for example, we're talking to 5 villages already. We actually invited to Agios and Brosius to the village festival in September. Employees of Exness, because we have land next door, but also because we helped out during these fires. And it's a great thing, right? Because then suddenly you meet people, not only politicians. And you can ask them what works, what doesn't work.
Right.
and we can practice our Greek as well. Mateno Elenika.
Yes, makes sense. I think that's a great point. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. I think it's a more general dialogue, and we always talk to the government organizations when we need to. Right, we find out who to talk to, and but it really hasn't been a problem here to find that person. So that's a good relationship.
In other words, they are receptive.
They are
to Exness and probably to other efforts as well.
They do listen. For sure.
I guess moving on, we've spoken about natural disasters, the environment, but there's many other issues in the world and specifically here in Cyprus as well. I would say some of those are education, poverty, refugee support. A lot of countries in the region are dealing with or have been dealing with refugees for many years now.
Yes.
Actually, is there any kind of initiatives that you can speak about where Exness, maybe it was a multi-level collaboration or a multi-stakeholder effort, let's say, where Exness participated in some things to kind of broaden education?
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's one-dimensional, sometimes it has more dimensions, right? And I think we actually help here in Cyprus. It's not a massive project for us, but we go to the local Corfino refugee center. And we go there with some of our employees who are really speak Arabic, for example, and maybe even come from these countries, some of them. And it's one of the great events. If I would choose an event to go to for Exness CSR, I would go to that event. It's chaos. It's chaos everywhere, but it's so much love and so much effectiveness of what we do, and it's so appreciated just to go there and help out a little bit.
Can you talk a little bit more about this event and maybe how viewers can participate?
We can't do that because we have to sign them up. We can only do that per company, unfortunately.
Oh, I see.
But they can certainly contact the organizations there and see if they also can help out, for sure. It's not the easiest of projects for various reasons, but it's very rewarding. And when I leave there, I feel, I mean, it's not always nice to go there, but when you leave, you leave with a feeling of that your mind have been reset, and you appreciate life a bit more.
Is it a matter of like I don't know, cooking for the refugees or supporting them with?
We have tried many different things. Now it's usually sports, so we bring sports equipment and we play, we dance. We bought an ice cream truck once, and mostly we have to interact with them. And it's lovely. You walk around there, and suddenly a small boy takes your hand, and you go and play basketball or something. An interaction they don't really have without a world there. So, but refugee is a complex problem, so it's not that easy to do more. So we try to do this small thing, but it works out really well.
If we turn inward a bit, Exness is known for taking care of its employees, and I would say, let's say, going above and beyond the norm, so to say, in terms of what employees can expect to get from a company like yours. I guess, what's your thinking behind corporate culture, the ways that employees are treated, or the ways that maybe even employees are recruited, and also in terms of well-being? I mean, if we talk about the real nature of the kind of work that people do at your company and companies that we've worked at, I mean, yes, I would say it's a grind. I mean, it is. You're in front of a computer most of the time,
and it's tough to work in Exness. It's a great place and we pay well, but it's not easy, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's because of the culture in the company, and I mean, it's a results-driven organization.
We expect a lot, right? But if you are that person, then we also want to give a lot back.
Correct. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about sort of your internal?
So what do? We do a lot of things, but I think it connects to the first question, maybe, what is the overall strategy or that. And I think it is this that we try to do CSR more as culture than branding.
Yeah.
So we really try to involve employees, but we never force them. We don't have this one day where everybody goes out and have to do something, because people do CSR in the normal life. Maybe you have old parents, maybe you take care of the neighbor's cat or whatever. So and also you get, for one passionate person, you get the work of 4 non-passionate persons. So it's better to use the passionate ones.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of things, but we try to get this feeling, right, where I even tell people who donate privately, don't tell anyone. because the reward of course, as somebody asks, you should, and sometimes I think you should tell because it can inspire others to do the same, right?
Yeah.
But keep it to yourself because the reward is so much bigger,
It's true.
There's only altruism, that no virtue signaling or anything, right? So that's what we're trying to do in Exness, that it should be something that's, implied. You do it because it's a normal thing to do, because we're good people. It sounds very ambitious or maybe a bit corny, but that's really what the founder wants to see. You do this because it's something you do, a normality. You have to do many different things because people like different things. So we do a lot of different things that I haven't mentioned here, and it's all part of this palette of offers to offer. Some people cannot get off in the weekends, so we do things in the office. I think it's trending, these kind of things. So we get a lot of requests to do more things, and I can only mention a few, right? So we have this initiative in Cyprus where we have a nature photographer and a marine conservation organization, and we pay them basically to go to the schools and inform about wildlife.
Okay.
And how you should treat animals, but also how you should not pollute the environment, etc. To hopefully influence a minds that in 10 years' time will be, grown-ups, and in 20 years' time we'll start deciding things.
Yeah, yes.
And they have visited more than 15,000 kids now in the last 2 years. And it's not something we broadcast that much, but I think we get a lot of good credit from the schools and from the parents and the kids themselves. They really like. Apart from that, we have ongoing projects. What do we do? We have some in environmental stuff. We do this beach cleanups, go to the beach and clean it up. And we have dog and cat shelters. So in Cyprus, we support a few. It's probably the project I spent most time on without success, because the supply of dog and cats in Cyprus is a very difficult problem.
Yes.
And you can treat the symptoms, but the supply is endless, right? So you need to fix that, and that is a tricky one. But we have a project now with cat clusters, we call them. Pilot project in Limassol, where we try to create clusters of cats. I won't go into the detail now, but to actually nurture more cats and make sure they get away from areas where they pollute and create a nuisance.
It's really cool that you go to schools and talk to the kids about wildlife and animals, because I feel like, again, I remember myself growing up as a kid. You remember yourself growing up as a kid. It was a lot different, and our connection to our local environment and animals and wildlife and things like that was different.
Yeah.
I think you will agree. And today it seems like it's a major contributor to, again, pollution as well, right? You guys go to clean up the beaches. I was going to actually ask, how many divers do you have?
We have around.
I know you have a lot of employees.
We have around 20, but not everybody shows up. So maybe we do 10, 12, 11.
So it's like just based on statistics, right? If you have 1,000 employees, there's probably this many people, and in Cyprus, this many people who are going
Cyprus,
to be
I think we have around 20. Maybe we
diving enthusiasts.
Yes, we have maybe a bit more, but to do this, you need to be a bit trained. It's not just for recreation. You can do it for recreation training as well,
Of course.
but you need to be a bit more savvy.
What if you just do free diving? Can you help? Can you help out with this?
Good you mention it, because we actually just started a free diving club, so they can do that as well. But I have to get into that. I don't know actually how effective they can be, but I love to combine it, right? To have both at the same time, because we can use the same boat potentially.
Yeah, because I know quite a few folks here around that actually do free diving. Yeah,
we have around 15 now certified free divers in our free diving club. We have sports clubs in Exness, so somebody wants to do something, they can get a budget to do that, basically. Not pay for everything, but to get started.
Sure.
So we have started this actually this spring, yes, and now we're looking to see how that can grow and be on its own legs, so to say.
I guess my last question is, are there any new initiatives that may be in the pipeline going forward, or focus areas that you're particularly excited about? Again, not necessarily, let's say here in Cyprus, but globally, based on basically the company's strategic plans or something like that, where, again, you will have more CSG efforts going forward, or something new that you can share?
Yeah, we have a few things bubbling. I'm thinking we should mention we also try to connect to other companies' values when we can. So if anything related to technology, that's something we like. So there's one project I'm going to mention about that because it's very worthwhile doing, but also has a really strong technology core of it. But maybe the first one is I can talk about this now because now we have started the building planning. So we're going to build a new daycare center for multi-sick kids for Theotokos Foundation here in Limassol. So they have a day center today where they treat 0 to 8-year-old kids with multiple issues, multiple diseases. Maybe often it's oxygen deficiency at birth, so you have speech impediments, you cannot walk properly, so also cognitive. So they need a lot of help. And the purpose of their center is to give these kids a decent chance to start normal school when they're 8. If not, the life is not that great, right?
Yeah, so
and now they're situated between the psychiatrics ward and the drug abusers ward at the old hospital in Limassol.
Yeah,
it's not a nice
not
place.
a great place to be, right? Yeah,
and it's run down. So we're building this new place for them at north of Polymedia, and that is I think going to be a really good one. It's the biggest donation we we've done so far. We'll do bigger things later. But that also, the extension of this, I really like to connect it to Exness. If we manage to do this, we'll take years to do it. But then also involve Exness personnel there to get the effect that I talked about before. Yes, some sanity check, right? So that's really interesting project. And then we have a new thing actually right now. We are investing in a new charity startup called United Rescue Cyprus. It's about building a network of first aid responders to help people in need.
I've heard about this.
So
where you can volunteer, you can just be like on the street somewhere or in the middle of something, you get an alert, and if you're qualified to help, like CPR and other things, resuscitation, you could help people. Sorry, I'm in.
No, that's exactly. But you're doing my job for me here. Exactly. So that can have enormous potential, right? Yeah. Because we do this in parallel to the existing 112 emergency services. So when you call them, we will listen in. And we only fill the gap between when you call and the ambulance arrives. But like in Cyprus and many other countries, ambulances are a bit slow. Not slow, but they don't come as soon as one would want. Sure. They have their own issues to deal with, obviously.
Yes.
But and those 10, 15, 20 minutes obviously are crucial for saving lives. So now we have a lot of volunteers. We start with only already medically trained volunteers, but then we'll invite other volunteers. But then you have to do 200 hours of
training.
Yes, so it's a lot. And it's really amazing. And many of the people in the mother organization of this, they're previous first aiders who started this, and they know how rewarding it is, because here also the work is its own reward. So I don't think there is anything better you can do in life than saving a life, right?
That's true.
So this, I think, has enormous potential, and it has the possibility to become the biggest charity in Cyprus, I think, and one of the most efficient ones. But we still have some way to go there. So if you're listening to this pod, and you have deep pockets,
you could go.
we need a few more first-level sponsors here to get this thing going. But we have the support of the government, support of the German Medical Institute, all the medical professionals. And a few other companies who will invest initially. And we need a few more or so.
We are pretty much out of time.
Oh, fantastic. That went fast.
Yes. My last question is a humorous one.
All right.
You don't need to answer it if you don't want to. But before we started, I took obviously a look at your LinkedIn profile. You were in the Swedish Navy.
Oh, yeah.
When you were, I don't know.
Yes.
19. Younger.
18, 19.
Right.
Yes.
When you were younger. We live in Cyprus now. Do you do any kind of water sports? What's your deal? Because you spend time on the water.
Yes.
When you were in the military.
Yes.
How does Martin? How does Martin?
It's I love the water, I have to say. I do. I've done some sailing in my life as well. I have a boat still here.
Oh, nice.
But it's a I'm not sure it's a good story, but it's a story. So when I was previously the head of legal and compliance in Exness for 5 years, so I worked as a lawyer there. And I needed to do something else. So the founder saw this and they said, you should do this. And after a little bit of argument, I did this, and I love it, you know.
Sure.
So I thought, oh, now I can get a boat. I can take it a bit easy.
Uh-huh.
But nothing, if you want to do it well, is easy. Nothing, if you want to do it well, is 9 to 5.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So I'm not using the boat. So I'm selling it now. It's
Oh.
it's really sad. But but I used to do that a lot. Now what I do for fun, I love my work. So a lot of things are connected with the work. But train, hang out with wifey, read books, cuddle with my cats.
Well, Martin, it's a pleasure to meet you. And thanks for taking a really deep dive into CSG, ESG, all these different efforts that Exness is doing proactively, publicly, and outward.
Yes.
And then also what you're doing as a company, sort of inward with your employees and your culture.
I realized now I contradicted myself here. I said, if you do something good, shut up. But I haven't shut up, have I? We've only been talking for 40 minutes about this. But then
Fine, we could keep going.
we can keep going. But I like to inspire people, because everybody wants to help. But sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find your thing. So we inspire people to try and test and see what works for them. And then don't be afraid of focusing on that and maybe saying no to the rest.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point. Well, thanks. Thanks again, and all the best to you as we head into the end of summer. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to be here.